What's flying, every pony? Take a seat, chill out, relax. The long wait is finally over. We are live. Episode 3 of According to Spiky Dash. Spiky Dash with you here. And yes, first I must say, I'm a little less spiky. It had to go, at least for now. Okay, it's the weather's getting warmer outside here. So it was time. But believe me, when it gets long again, I'll spike it again. I promise. Oh, so good to be back with another show for you guys. It had been a long time, actually, probably about 3 or 4 weeks since I had done a live stream. I have so much to share with you guys in this video, in this live stream. First off, apologies in advance for those of you who were wanting to tune in last week. I think it was either Wednesday or Thursday. And I planned to do the live stream that night, and the weather got a little bit out of control, out of hand. Actually, there was those summer storms that popped up here. You just don't know when they're going to arrive and show up. So, unfortunately, I tried to push the stream back an hour, back to 8 o'clock. The storm was just so slow moving that not even I mentioned, I tweeted it out, not even a cloud clearing pony could push that storm out of the way in time. So I had to push the stream back to today, but a lot to cover in this video. I'm so excited to be back with you guys. So in this video, I'm going to discuss, first off, big news besides being back on the stream. I am finally caught up. I'm finally caught up with all the MLP episodes. Yay! I had time. I got caught up. I watched all of season 7 as far as aired. I watched today. So, by the way, if you guys are struggling, if you guys are behind in the show like I was, and you need to find the episodes, go to Dailymotion. And I know it's kind of a shameless plug in a way, but they're not if the videos get posted on YouTube, they're not very long. Hasbro apparently is really going after YouTube for having the episodes up on the site, and they're pulling them down rather quickly. So it's what I'm hearing from the rest of the Brony Sister community. So go to Dailymotion. They're on there for a lot longer period of time, and I was able to find all the episodes from season 7 so far. And I watched them all, and they've all been great. So I'm going to share my thoughts on the season 6 episodes that I saw, liked, didn't like. The thoughts on those that I watched. Of course, all my thoughts on season 7 episodes. Plush update with you guys. I'm going to share another one on that. I got a couple new ones to show you. Actually, they're right next to me. I won't bring them out yet, but they're right here next to me. And then on my OC that I'm doing, that I talked about on the last episode, in episode 2, talk about that a little bit. Share my thoughts in general just on Everfree Northwest. I didn't go, because it's, number one, it's far away in Seattle, and number 2, I don't want to go to too many cons in a year because they do tend to be pricey. I'm probably just going to go to Windy City on a yearly basis, at least for now. I might eventually branch out, and and maybe if my friends and I, my friends that I go to the con with just got jobs themselves. So who knows? We get more money together, start maybe go to Everfree or BronyCon or Pony or Cider Fest up in Milwaukee, what have you. But for now, we're definitely going to Windy City every year, so as long as they have it. But I watched some of the videos from AC Race Fest, and I want to kind of share my thoughts on what I've seen from those bits and pieces. And I mentioned I want to share it was a very special night that I had recently, not non-pony related, but over at Fort Wayne, that I want to share in this video as well. So let's get to episodes. So where I was at, after I talked last time, was the tail end of season 5, where Starlight Glimmer finally got reformed in the season finale of season 5. And I said at the time that it was going to take, there were a lot of other characters from the series that have been reformed, and that I enjoyed that, and I liked that it reformed, like Discord, of course, getting reformed by Fluttershy, or Diamond Tiara getting reformed. I like that. I like that they seem to be genuine in their reforming. With Starlight Glimmer, it was, I said at the time, it was going to be very, very tricky for me to kind of take a liking to her character after what she did. She did a pretty bad thing. And throughout season 6, it's kind of like, and even in season 7 now, her past keeps getting brought up. Like, oh, that one time, remember when you took all the cutie marks away and they gave them equal signs and you enslaved an entire village and wanted to change the future of Equestria, and so she hates the fact that it gets brought up. But it was a pretty bad thing that she did, and so I just feel like it was I don't know. I was really kind of as to my thoughts on her as a character, and really kind of maybe like in a way forgiving her of her past and what she did. But in season 6, like, I don't know if it was just me or maybe you guys can relate to this as well, but it seemed like she was at the beginning of season 6, Starlight Glimmer referring to here, and then wasn't really in the episodes till the latter part of season 6. And we kind of get that in another episode. There was a reason for that because of the fact that she was kind of like ignoring in a way the friendship lessons, because she wanted her magic to impress Twilight so much, being her pupil. So that was kind of the reason why we didn't see Starlight, I think, as much throughout season 6. But now we're starting, at least in the early part of season 7, I think, to see her a lot more. So that was just something that I noticed while watching season 6 episodes, was that we didn't get to see Starlight as much. And I was kind of surprised at first. But let me share my favorite episodes with you guys from season 6. Of course, the 2-part season premiere. I love that with the crystalling. Just kind of a wild premiere episode. I mean, that was just like, we then know about the fact that we knew from back toward about latter part of season 5 that Princess Cadence and Shining Armor were going to have a baby in the Crystal Empire, and that, of course, was huge. And the episode where Pinkie Pie had to keep that a secret, like, that was like really, really crazy that Pinkie could tried so hard to hold it in until the very end. I think I mentioned that in the last episode. I like that episode. But the shocking thing was that the newborn baby is an alicorn, and that just blew everybody's mind, mine included, because you rarely see a born alicorn. Usually the alicorns have to get their wings being a princess and doing something very big. So when Flirty Heart is born an alicorn, everyone's just stunned. And her cry and apparently her magic is just either so advanced or just so strong for her age. Even her cry was so powerful it shattered the crystal heart. And they had to find a way to fix it and save the kingdom before the crystalling happened of Flirty Heart. So that was kind of just a wild episode. And also intertwined in that, while you have that going on, you've also got Starlight trying to start her new friendship lessons under Twilight and trying to reform this friendship with her very first friend, Sunburst, who I think is actually a very cool character. I mean, I know at first he comes off as very, reserved, very, crass, but he's kind of doing the same thing as Starlight did in a way, because Starlight was like, oh, I don't want to admit that I almost did this to all of Equestria. Sunburst doesn't want to admit, oh, I'm not the pony you think I am. Starlight thinks he's this great wizard and all of this, and that he can help out, and turns out that wasn't the case. So, I mean, he knew a little bit of things, but not like this grand pony that Starlight thought he was going to become. So they both kind of had a past that they were trying to hide a little bit, but eventually they do reform that friendship, and they do save the Empire, and Spike actually has a big role in it. He saves the Empire again, Spike the Brave and Glorious, for the second time. So that was very, very cool. So a lot going on in that episode, of course. Usually, always the premiere episodes of a season are very, very cool. Though interesting to note, season 7, spoiler here if you haven't seen season 7, but season 7 for the first time does not have a 2-part season premiere. So keep that in mind. But usually these 2-parters have lead up to season been very, very good, and this was no exception. On your marks, any CM, I'm gonna basically say this right now. Any episode that I like is usually related. If it's a Cutie Mark Crusader episode, I'm gonna like it. If it's a Wonder Bowl episode, I'm gonna like it. If it's an episode involving Rainbow Dash, I'm gonna like it. If it's an episode involving Spike in any way, I'm gonna like it. I mean, I have my characters that I'm just drawn to that I will really, really like these episodes, and the CMCs are no exception. I've always kind of been fascinated by these characters ever since we were first introduced to them, especially Scootaloo, because she really didn't have unlike, Apple Bloom is Applejack's sister. We know that Sweetie Belle is Rarity's sister. We didn't really know Scootaloo's backstory. We don't even know, we kind of still don't know what Scootaloo's backstory really is. Only that Rainbow Dash decided to take her under her wing because she was looking for a big sister. So we really still don't really kind of know what that backstory is. But but I can kind of relate to that because I was an only child most of my life, and I didn't really, so it was just kind of that. So I can kind of relate to Scootaloo in a way. So, but after the Cutie Mark Crusaders, we know they get their cutie marks toward the end of season 5, and their mission now is taking on this mission of helping other ponies get theirs. Well, then they, in this episode, they kind of struggle to figure out what is next for them. They've got their cutie marks now. Now, what do they do after that? And at first, they kind of go back to, oh, we got to keep, still doing all this stuff. But it just kind of takes on a meaning of it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel the same. So they're just trying to figure out, what to do. And then they finally realize, hey, our mission is kind of like what we did ourselves, to help others achieve their destinies, find their purpose in life, get their marks. So that was a really cool episode. And of course, anything, like I said, anything involving the CMCs is cool with me. But I just felt it was really a neat way for them now to explore the path for themselves. Gauntlet of Fire, of course, Dragon episode, and I love it. And Spike has to take part in this big competition to become Dragon Lord, and this was just a really cool episode. Not only because Spike has to put himself in this position to do this, because there are other dragons that if they win the competition, they want to ruin Equestria. They don't like ponies. They don't like associating with them. They don't like Spike because of the fact, they always taunt him because he's more pony than dragon. So they think, because he hangs out with them all the time. So Spike then has to win this competition. And he eventually goes on. He does end up winning the competition to the shock of everybody, including the big former Dragon Lord leader, who's like, a little dragon winning the competition, what, But then he also gets help from a surprising source, and that's Princess Ember. And I love her character. I was really impressed, and even the current Dragon Lord, who's Princess Ember's father, is even against her competing in the competition, doesn't want it to happen, doesn't think that she can become Dragon Lord. He wants big, strong dragons to win the competition. Well, she and Spike eventually team up, and they prove him totally wrong. And then in the end, Spike's like, well, yes, I won, but that would mean leaving behind all that I've done for Equestria, all that I've done for the Main Six. I can't do that. Ember, you would make a lot better leader because you proved yourself just as much as I did. So that was a cool moment, and I really think that really kind of blew the current Dragon Lord's mind, when it's like, oh, my daughter was able to do this too. So that was cool. I like that, and I like Princess Ember. No second prances. Obviously, this one is when Starlight and Trixie come together. And at first, again, kind of like Twilight, I was skeptical. I'm like, I don't know if you really want the great and powerful Trixie to be your first friend. I don't know. I am kind of worried about that. But so Twilight kind of makes sure to kind of, keep them apart in any way possible. But Twilight eventually comes to the realization, I have to let Starlight choose her friends on her own and really forget about the past that not only Starlight did, but Trixie did too, because, Twilight and Trixie, as we saw way back in the early seasons, they didn't exactly hit it off strong and didn't get off to a good start with the magic duel and all that. So, but she's then willing to give Trixie a second chance and really become Starlight's best friend. So I thought that was really just an episode where you just got to put the past behind you and give people second chances. So great lesson there, and great opportunity for Starlight to continue to grow. Newbie Dash, obviously, come on now. The big moment we're all waiting for. It only took nearly 5.5 seasons, but Rainbow Dash finally gets to be a Wonder Bowl. I was just like watching that episode, and when finally she got the invite in the mail, and Scootaloo's right next to her, and she says, "You're finally a full-fledged Wonder Bowl." And Dash, she just goes from, I love that moment. I loved it. Doesn't get any better than that. But then on her first day, things don't really go so well. she ends up crashing, and then they call her kind of that old nickname from her past that haunts her. They call her Rainbow Crash, and of course, we all know the backstory behind that from the bullies at flight camp. And so she tries her darndest to shed it. She's, shed that nickname and tries to change her routine up, and so it really takes a toll on her. But she then kind of has the realization, the other bolts, they kind of reassure her a little bit. She has the big speech at the end, like, oh, I guess I'm not Wonderbolt material after all. And then Soren comes up and goes, are you kidding? You're the most talented flyer I ever had. And then even Spitfire assures her, of course you're a Wonderbolt. We were waiting for a spot in the reserve since retirement. But then she goes, well, then you call me Rainbow Crash. And Soren goes, yeah, so? My nickname's Clipper. Why do they call me that? And Dash goes, because you're as fast as the ship. And he goes, no, my wing might have clipped the flagpole on the first day. And then they go around and everyone says, I think one went flat-foot. When I misjudged my landing, I ran light on Spitfire stuff. And they go, Daisy, I think one went slow poke, hoof and mouth. But then the best part of it was the camera's on Spitfire, and she goes, you don't want to know what they call me. And she whispers, and she's like, whoa. That is a lot worse than Crash. And she goes, right? And I'm like, what is it? I'm watching that going, oh, how bad could it have been? How worse could it have been than Rainbow Crash or any of those others that we heard? What do they call Spitfire? She's the captain of the Wonderbolts, for gosh sake. What kind of bad nickname could that be for her? So I was always wondering about that. I just had to think, how bad could that be? But so that was just a cool moment. Rainbow Dash was on probation for a month, but cleaned the compound as a result of her foobar. But it was all good in the end, and she's living her dream. So that's really what's awesome about that episode. Saddle Row review. Love this episode. Their episode or the newspaper article on Rarity's Boutique in Manhattan. That's where we get no spoilers, no spoilers, no spoilers. I don't have to say no spoilers anymore though, because I'm caught up. But they're trying to fill in Rarity. He's like, no spoilers, no spoiling. But the review, though, really not very glowing at first, but it's kind of like an interview session where the main six get to tell their story to the reporter as they're actually showing how the opening went. So in the end, though, it does end well, thankfully. But it's it's kind of a different perspective episode where you get to see the story from all the ponies' perspectives. So that was really, really cool. I like that format of the episode. Flutter Brother. Oh, gosh. Fluttershy's brother is something else. I mean, he is just something else. And the funny thing also on this episode is Fluttershy says the word peeved twice. You don't expect that from Fluttershy. Fluttershy is definitely like branching out in a way. And it's even in one of the episodes in season 7 that I'll mention here in a minute. It's like I'm so peeved right now. I'm thinking, Fluttershy, that is definitely not like you. Like, cover your pony's ears, because that is like, I would not expect you to say that word. But that was a moment in and of itself. But it was just neat, and her getting her brother on the right track, and that was just an interesting episode for that reason. Stranger Than Fan Fiction, of course, love this episode. Rainbow Dash and Daring Do reuniting together. Rainbow Dash at this Daring Do, fan convention, awesome enough on its own. Don't really need a reason for it. It was just so awesome. He has to convince this other pony that actually is voiced by a big-time celebrity, and it was just like the coolest thing. And he's got to convince him that that Daring Do is actually real. It's legit. It's the books are the trilogy, the 4 through 6 trilogy is as awesome as the 1 through 3. So that was just a really neat episode on its own, and I loved the dynamics there. So that was just so cool. And then the pony realizes, wait, this is real. This is really real. This is really happening. It's real. So that was cool. Cart Before the Ponies. Of course, another CMC episode with the Cutie Mark Crusaders. But the Applewood Derby. Fun. It reminded me, and I never really got to compete in this, but I liked watching it as when I was younger, and kind of following it as the big soapbox derby events that are still run to this day in Ohio. And so it reminded me of that. But then it's kind of like, their teammates, you get to have an older pony help them compete. Of course, Applejack is with Apple Bloom, and Rarities with Sweetie Belle, and Rainbow Dash is helping Scootaloo. They all have, but the Crusaders have all their all own ideas on what to win in. But Rainbow Dash is like, oh, we want to be the fastest, or Applejack like, we want to win the most natural card, and Rarity's like, we got to be the most creative. But they want to win different things, like they want to, like, I think Scoots like wants to win like most creative, or Sweetie Belle wants to be the fastest. One of the things like that. Or I think it's Apple Bloom wants to be the fastest. So they want different things, but then the adults end up doing everything, building everything, kind of taking over, racing the carts. So they kind of like push them right out of it. So, but then in the process of that, the older ponies kind of wreck it for the youngins, and then it's like, oh, gee, I guess we shouldn't have done that. But then they let the young ones get their second chance on their own, which was very good. So in the end, they were like, oh, we kind of we screwed up there. We wanted to help, but really we weren't helping. We wanted to do it for ourselves. So cool episode. Really liked it, and kind of brought you back to growing up and childhood a little bit. 28 pranks later, definitely one of the most talked about episodes. Rainbow Dasher pranks. I mean, and normally again, you wouldn't think she is kind of a bit of a prankster. Pinkie Pie kind of does it also more often. But Rainbow Dash goes crazy on the pranks, pranking everybody, even pranking Fluttershy, which normally is a no-no. But going around pranking everybody, and they get out of hand. So everybody decides to give her a taste of her own medicine when her big prank at the end backfires on her with these joke cookies, and it backfires, turns them all into like zombies, and like we want more cookies, and it's just scaring Rainbow Dash out. So you'll probably hear the word gotcha like at least like 10 times in the episode, I think. So just I mean, it's not fun to see Rainbow Dash get a taste of her own medicine, obviously, but it was deserved because she was going a lot too far. She was going too far. She was going a lot too far. So just too much. The times they are a changeling. Can I just say it? I love Thorax. I love his character. I would like a plush of him too. Well, I don't know about. I don't have to decide whether I want him in his new form or his old form because he's cute either way. I like Thorax. I think he was such a cool character. I mean, yes, the changelings on their own are they were evil under Queen Chrysalis's rule, but Thorax wanted to be different. He wanted to stand out on his own. He wanted to make friends ever since because he saw Spike and so when Spike, Starlight, and Twilight head to the Crystal Empire, there's the ponies are freaking out in the Empire because they think there's a changeling spy that's around, and everyone's going crazy and cuckoo. But actually, it's Thorax, and actually he doesn't have these evil intentions like the rest of his hive. He wants to make friends. He wants to be different, and Spike's got to convince everyone that Thorax isn't a threat. And Spike really does it in a really cool way, especially at the end. The end is awesome. He actually sings to to everybody, the Princess Celestia, Princess Luna, Cade in Shining Armor, all the Crystal Empire, all the main ponies there, that a changeling can change. That's one of the coolest songs I've ever heard. I love that song. It's an awesome song. If you haven't heard it, look it up. It's awesome. So cool, and I just love Thorax as a character. So very cool episode. Buckball season. Anything sports related? Yes, I will go for an episode. Yes, very cool episode. This is where Applejack and Rainbow Dash are training Fluttershy and Pinkie Pie for an upcoming Buckball game against Appaloosa, led by Brayburn, on Applejack's relatives. But they kind of go a little bit over the top. They're starting to really put pressure on them. Fluttershy and Pinkie Pie are really getting into the game, just having fun. They're just kind of loose. They're very relaxed, and they're kicking the ball, making the shots, very relaxed. But then when they put all this pressure on them, like, oh, you gotta win. Every pony's rooting for, every pony's going for you. They kind of get kind of locked up, and they forget their skills. Like they forget how to play. Like they're just so worried about not letting every pony down. So it was just a really cool episode, and then Applejack and Rainbow Dash are like, okay, we realized we shouldn't put as much pressure on you. We're gonna play instead. Then they practice with each other, and then they go back to the looseness, and in the end they do win. So cool moment all around, cool episode. Fall in Our Cutie Marks. Oh my gosh! Again, another CMC episode. They had a lot of episodes this season, but that was cool. And Gabby the Griffin. Love this character too. I love. I mean, she's a little bit energetic, yes, kind of like the Pinkie Pie energy, but she's so cool. It's. I mean, and rare we get to see like a cool Griffin. I mean, at first I thought Gilda was cool, but then she became a jerk, and then it was like, when are we gonna get like? And then even the Griffinstone episode, there really wasn't like a cool moment where there was a cool Griffin, but then apparently there was all along because Gabby saw the whole thing with Gilda kind of getting reformed in Griffinstone when Twilight and Pinkie Pie got called there by the cutie map and became their friends. So it was just that was a cool moment. That was a really, really, really cool moment to see that. And Gabby now wants her cutie mark herself, but the question became, well, can non-ponies get a cutie mark? And really they can't. And the CMCs have to kind of figure out, how do we tell her, that they can't. But the Crusaders eventually, throughout the course of the episode, they kind of, they don't want to let her down, but they discover, Gabby's purpose in life is helping others, kind of like them helping ponies get their cutie marks. Gabby's purpose is to help others as well. So, because she was helping throughout the village, or through Ponyville. So then she kind of gets to become a Crusader herself in the end, which was very, very cool. So love that episode. Awesome. Every little thing she does. This is the one where we saw Starlight again after a long absence. Like, we didn't see Starlight for like tons of episodes until this one. This is the one where I thought, where we found out, okay, she's been kind of shirking the friendship lessons because she wants to impress Twilight with her magic and all her spells she's been working on. So Twilight is gone. She's gone from the castle. She has a speaking engagement, and she wants Starlight to, kind of, work on, spending time with each of the main five in order to, get to know them better. That was the whole purpose. Well, Starlight thinks, I might try with putting a spell on each of them and rush the friendship lessons because she's so nervous about meeting each of them and getting to know them better. Well, that spell, of course, backfires. It goes horribly wrong. The ponies are just like, it was kind of creepy with their deadpan eyes, like, whatever you want, Starlight Glimmer. I mean, it was creepy. It was just like absolutely creepy with Pinkie Pie rushing through the baking thing, and then and the things, and then Rarity with the sewing, and then Rainbow Dash trying to find a place to chillax, and whatever you want, Starlight Glimmer. I mean, they're just like, it was just creepy. It was absolutely creepy. But eventually, in the end, she quickly learned a lesson in apologizing for that wrong and doing friendship the right way instead of using magic to do it. So, hard lesson learned by Starlight Glimmer, but one she probably had to learn the hard way. So, that's why that was a good episode. Where the Apple Lies. This one surprised me in a lot of ways. Apple Bloom getting caught in a little white lie, but then finding out, there was, this is a good lesson for you because your big sister Applejack, wasn't as always honest as she thought she was. And everyone was like, what? You never tell a lie. Well, she did when she was younger, and it nearly put everyone in the hospital. So there was this big story, and it nearly ruined Sweet Apple Acres, put everyone in the hospital. Thought Granny Smith was sick when she wasn't. And so it was just lie on top of lie on top of lie. And it was also interesting to see that, back then, Big Mac was more of a talker than what he is now. Rarely now we see Big Mac do a lot of speaking except for yup and nope and all this, and just very low one-word syllables. We rarely see him get a big speaking role. But then this episode, it just kind of showed, he was more of a talker back then than he is now. So I thought that was really neat to see that aspect come out. So that was just a neat episode for just to show that whole story. So that Applejack wasn't always honest. Top Bolt, obviously, as I mentioned, any episode that features Spitfire, Wonderbolt Academy, favorite of mine, love it. And especially when Rainbow Dash and Twilight actually get called there to fix a friendship problem. They get called by the cutie map. But of course, Rainbow Dash was just there, and she's like, I was just there. Now I got to go back there again. so there's like this bitter relationship between, I think, two of them going on. Um, so they're like two of the new recruits, and they like one was helping the other pony, and they need to realize to be their separate ways to be the best they could be. So that was really a cool episode. There was a character in this episode, Angel Wings. It was an OC created by someone named Alexis Huel as part of her Make-A-Wish request. I thought that was really, really cool. That was awesome. So very, very cool in that regard as well. Love that episode. And then, of course, the two-part season finale, To Where and Back Again, parts 1 and 2. I mean, who would have thought it came to that? Who would have thought that the foursome of Starlight Glimmer, Trixie, Discord, and Thorax, of all the four people, could save all of Equestria from the rest of Queen Chrysalis and the Changelings without magic, mind you, because magic doesn't work in the Changeling Kingdom. So without even that, and when the most powerful ponies in Equestria with magic were all captured, and like I said, I guess that episode, it finally made me forgive Starlight's past and see that, oh yeah, she really is reformed. So, hey, I would have been a proud people if I was Twilight in that role. I would have been proud of her. So, she had to herself, she had to forgive herself in order to realize that she could be a leader in these type of situations. That was her fear, that she couldn't lead anymore after what happened at her old village, after all that. Was she ready to be a leader? And she showed it in that moment. So I thought that was cool. And, and Starlight gave Queen Chrysalis, after the kingdom was destroyed, one last chance. It doesn't have to be this way. Changelings now are all reformed. Thanks to Thorax, you don't have to be this way. But she said no. She took it out and said, I will get revenge on Starlight Glimmer. So, unfortunately, I don't think it's the last we're going to see of Queen Chrysalis, but who knows? We haven't seen her yet, but that might be down the road for later in the season. We'll see. All right, Season 7, what I've seen so far. If you have not seen any of Season 7, I would leave the video right now, or at least leave the live stream, or mute your sound. If you do not want to be spoiled what's happening in Season 7, do not listen to this part, because I've seen all the episodes now, and And I guess from now on, as I recap the episodes, it'll kind of be like a spoiler warning. So don't, when I say spoiler warning, mute your sound, turn away from the video. Don't listen to it. You don't want to be spoiled, okay? Because this is spoilers coming up. All right. Season 7 so far has been pretty great. Every episode has been great in its own accord, and I like a lot of things about each episode. Some we're kind of, but some I really, really like, and I'm going to share my thoughts. The premiere, Celestial Advice, great episode, great way to kick off the season. The foursome of Starlight, Trixie, Discord, and Thorax are given medals of honor for their defeat of Queen Chrysalis. But then Discord has to be the master of chaos himself, has to throw Twilight into this big old frenzy. Because she, what's your plan now for Starlight Glimmer? What's your big? I'm sure you're gonna make a big announcement now of what her future is. And Twilight's like, oh my gosh, because it's easy to throw Twilight into a frenzy over anything. You could tell her that something's happening outside, and she'll be thrown in this frenzy and start looking at a book. It's easy, but but of course, being a former pupil herself of Princess Celestia, she turns to her for advice. But she realizes in that moment that, when she was in that position of, wondering what to do next with a pupil, Celestia sent Twilight away, sent her to Ponyville, sent her away from Canterlot and sent her to Ponyville. So now she's like, oh, I might have to send Starlight Glimmer away. So then Twilight tries to think, okay, where can I send Starlight? Where can I send her to be most helpful? She thinks about sending her to the Changeling Kingdom. She thinks about sending her to the Dragonlands to work with Princess Ember. Thinks about, even going back to the Crystal Empire to work with Sunburst. But then she realizes there's a negative. There might be a backslide to all those situations. You got to consider all the possibilities, as Princess Celestia tells her. So, it's kind of rough. But Twilight then realizes, whatever happens, I got to let her go. So she announces on the big stage that it starts graduation. I've seen all the friends you made now. I have nothing left to teach you. So, and of course, Starlight is taken completely aback by this, because she's like, oh, I was not expecting that at all. But but then she then comes up and has the courage to tell her, wait, I'm not ready. And Twilight's like, what? Like, I'm not ready to leave yet. I'm not ready to go. I don't want to leave yet. I don't want to step out yet. But that kind of relieves Twilight because she was so afraid to let Starlight go. And Celestia mentions to Twilight in the story, it was kind of the same way for her. She didn't want to let Twilight leave, but it was the hardest thing she had to do, but she had to do it. And Celestia even admits, I was afraid that with all the friends you were going to make, you didn't need me anymore, which Twilight then tells her that clearly was not true, that she was always going to need her. So, but then when Twilight's leaving that moment that Starlight tells her, I'm not ready to leave yet, Twilight gives a gift to her, that the friendship mirror that similar to what Twilight has, is all the moments on there with Starlight, which is really cool. I love that moment. And that gets Starlight emotional. They share a hug together. It was so sweet. I'm like, oh, that was so cute. So I liked that for that reason. I'm glad the fact that Starlight wasn't ready to leave us just yet. So I like that. The second episode, All Bottled Up, that was an okay episode. I wasn't really fully thrilled with it. Because more or less it was kind of focused on Starlight, like having this anger issue where she couldn't release how that she was actually upset with Trixie because she didn't want to lose Trixie as a friend. But there was actually a quote in the episode that I love. It was just so random. I noticed it, and it's like, but because she says it while she's talking to Starlight in the throne room of the castle. She goes, "Because magic is friendship and stuff," and I'm like, okay, that's definitely not coincidental. So I liked that. And of course, also another one of the best songs I've heard in the series, Best Friends Till the End of Time. Awesome song. Check it out. I'm sure it's out there on YouTube somewhere. It's awesome. It's an awesome song. Love it, love it. Great song. So check that out too. I really, really liked that. But okay episode, not great. Flurry of Emotions. I love this episode because it's just so cute to see Twilight be like the best aunt ever to Flurry Heart. I love their relationship. It's so awesome. But Twilight kind of learns the hard way, though, not to take care of a foal during a jam-packed schedule when she's got to help out at the hospital with some children that are caught. I think it was the horsey hives or something. I think it was what it was. So she gets all riled up about that, and she learns a hard lesson that quality time is just more important than how much time you spend with somebody. So, but they're just so, Flurry Heart's just so cute. Just so, all that magic in one little character is Malcorn, and just the relationship between Twilight and Flurry Heart is just so adorable, so cute. And then the fact that at the end that Princess Cadence and Shining Armor are like at this art thing, this art gallery, and they're seeing everything that reminds them of Flurry Heart, and they're like, oh, we miss her so much, and they put her in Twilight's hooves, and then they're at this thing, and it's like, oh, we miss her. It was just kind of like, oh, geez. So Twilight, you have to go through all that, but when you see the stuff that reminds you of your daughter, okay. Fun episode all around. Rock Solid Friendship. This episode was just, wow. This was a wild one. It really was. Not only was it interesting because there was one point in the episode, poor Lyra Heartstrings. I like Lyra as a kind of a background secondary character. Pinky drags her into frame, because Pinky wants her to be a rock to impress Maud, her sister, because Maud is thinking of moving to Ponyville or Ghastly Gorge, and after graduating from geology school. So now a doctorate. How cool is that? So Pinky's going to try to impress her with what Ponyville has to offer. But Maud also mentions, you know what, I'd like to have a friend. I'd like to spend some time with somebody. Gee, and who happens then to bump into her but Starlight? Of all ponies to bump into Maud at that moment, Starlight happens to bump into her. And Starlight's like, wait a minute. I think I remember you. Have I seen you before? You look familiar. And Pinky's like, yes. But then we flash back to when Starlight still had the equal sign on her flank and was like, do you know about a gem that can suck cutie marks out of ponies? And I'm like, oh no, really? Maud accidentally helped her with this mission, accidentally not knowing what was going to happen. So then it was just kind of like, I don't know where this is going. But Starlight and Maud actually did seem to bond with each other, but then Pinky kind of like really wanted them to bond, and they wouldn't let. Kind of like when Twilight didn't approve of Starlight and Trixie's friendship, Pinky was trying to, I guess, to overkill with Starlight and Maud's friendship, kind of the opposite in a way. So, but then after too much of that, Maud decides in the middle of the night, I'm just going to go to Ghastly Gorge myself. I'm just going to go there. I've had enough of this. Pinky, you tried way too hard, and Pinky eventually realizes her mistake. She apologizes. Maud eventually gives Ponyville, well, I'm sorry, technically Ponyville adjacent, a second chance, and she lives in this kind of underground cavern that her and Starlight discovered together, which is really cool. So, love that episode. Love it, love it. Fluttershy leans in. This was a neat episode with Fluttershy wanting to build this animal sanctuary or getting it built for these animals when the doctor's office is getting overrun with patients. So Fluttershy wants this dream, kind of this dream vision scenario to happen. So she hires, hires 3 of the main 6's friends who are really good with building stuff and designing things and stuff like that to help her out. But they kind of do it in their own way and not in Fluttershy's way. So then Fluttershy in a way becomes Flutterbold because she has to step up and say, this is not what I wanted. Fluttershy, like I mentioned, is really kind of breaking out of her shell in some of these episodes. Like, she's not being as shy and timid as she once was. She's really stepping up her game and breaking out. So getting that confidence. And she mentions, I've learned confidence because of what my fellow friends have shown me. So I think that's really cool to see that development in Fluttershy's character. And I love this quote at the end of the episode. I love this. She says, sometimes all we need to do is believe in our dreams. And when we finally reach our goal, we'll know that it was worth what it took to get there because the view will be even better than you imagined. I love that. I love that quote at the end of the episode. So that was really great. She finally gets to envision it and see it for real and live it out. So cool episode. I like that in that regard. Forever Philly, this one good episode, not great. But I like the fact that Rarity and Sweetie Belle's relationship is still strong. Basically, in this episode, the fact that the moral of growing up doesn't necessarily mean you have to grow apart from each other. Rarity finds a picture of her and Sweetie Belle. And seemed like she's been she's running. You gotta remember, Rarity's running like 3 stores now, and she really doesn't have much time to spend with Sweetie Belle as much as she wants to. So she finds this picture and just has like this breakdown. Oh, I miss Sweetie Belle so much. I want to spend time with her. So I was like, don't worry, I got this. I'll handle things here. You go spend time with your sister. So the Crusaders, of course, are spending a lot of time together. And actually, they have like a wall now of helping ponies find their cutie marks, and that's really, really cool. They've helped so many ponies out now to do that, and they're helping out another one named Zipperwill, who's trying to kind of reconcile with her puppy. I think Ripley is his name, Ripley or Ridley. I think it's Ripley, and trying to get back together there to kind of follow. Ripley didn't want to do as much Zipperwill as he once did. But it kind of clashes with this relationship between Rarity and Sweetie Belle because Rarity then shows up and wants to spend the whole day with Sweetie Belle to reconcile their relationship. Sweetie Belle, Apple Bloom and Scootaloo are like, oh, don't worry, we got this. We got this with Zipperwill. You just spend the day with Rarity. And then they spend the day together, and Rarity's actually doing all the things that they used to do when Sweetie Belle was younger, like really, really young. And Sweetie Belle's getting more and more irritated the more Rarity tries to do all this stuff. It's like, well, and then finally just pops off. She's like, I used to like all this stuff, but I'm grown up now. We need to do new things. And it's like, maybe you don't know me anymore. And of course that hurts Rarity hard. So then Sweetie Belle goes back to check on the Crusaders and Zipperwill, and it's not going very well. But then Sweetie Belle gets an idea. She's like, okay, well, you got this little thing for your dog now. Your dog's more fully grown now. Maybe you didn't like these little things anymore. And Rarity's listening in on this conversation. She's like, uh-oh, ding, ding, ding. I realize it now. I was trying to do the things that we were doing when we were younger, I should have realized you're grown up now. We need to have new experiences together, kind of like now Ripley and Zipper will need to do bigger things as well. But it's cool. It's cute at the end that they realize no matter what, I'm always going to be there for you. You're always going to be my little. I love Sweet Girl's line. You're always going to be my little sister. That's awesome. So I love that relationship. Still strong. Cool episode. I mean, good on the surface. Not like an elite episode, but really, really cool. Now, last week's episode, parental guidance. Oh my gosh. Finally, we get to see Rainbow Dash's parents, Wendy Whistles, and Bo Hot Hoof. Oh my gosh. So awesome. I love this episode. Scootaloo is doing this report on like an inspiration in her life, and of course that's Rainbow Dash. Obviously, we've seen that throughout the whole series. But she has to slingshot herself to get to Cloudsdale because she can't fly, of course. And so she gets there, and the first person she sees is Rainbow Dash's dad, and it's like, and she's just screaming, she's going, ah! She's doing this thing, and apparently ponies can put their wings in their ears. I didn't know they could do this. If they're supposed to and then her mom, Wendy Whistles, comes out and she's like, heavens to Celestia, she's doing that screaming thing. What is wrong with her? But she's just so excited to meet them finally after all this time. So, but they kind of have like this unbridled enthusiasm. Like they're very, very passionate. They are even a bigger fan than Scootaloo, which is saying a lot because Scootaloo is like, I'm their biggest fan, and Bo goes like, well, that's impossible because no bigger fan is than we are. And then, of course, we see everything from Rainbow Dash's childhood, like the whole backstory of that. But apparently, the one thing they didn't know that their parents didn't know, they didn't know that Rainbow Dash should become a Wonderbolt. They were totally out of the loop. But as we find out, there was a reason for that. But they didn't know. So when they find that out from Scootaloo, it's like, and then they come to the academy, they're cheering her on. And of course, Rainbow Dash is immediately embarrassed because she knows about, their backstory. And then it's like every single time, they're there, cheering Dash on very loudly, very, like go, go, go. And it's just everything. It's everything Dash does. They're supportive. And Dash just loses it, goes off the chain, and just goes, you're just too supportive. Or every little thing I do, you need to take a chill pill. Pretty high level. And they even say, well, it was a good job yelling, and your words are very painful. So they leave. And then Scootaloo even gets mad and all that and says, I thought you appreciated their support, but I guess I'll do my project on somebody else. And that, of course, hits Rainbow Dash hard as well. But then eventually, Dash has second thoughts herself. She kind of gives the whole backstory about why, they're so enthusiastic, because Dash, shocker, wasn't always great at everything, wasn't always the best at everything. She had to literally work her way up, but she had that support throughout. But then Scootaloo kind of makes her realize, I wish, I would have had that support throughout my, whole life. At least they gave it to you, And it's not that they, were being, over the top. They were genuinely being supportive of you. They were, they made her who you are today with that support. And Dash realizes that, and she realizes, oh, great. And now I just took it for granted and yelled at them. So kind of gives them, Scootaloo puts a surprise together. Scootaloo brings him back to the academy. Rainbow Dash gets on the mic, welcome to the big private show for you guys. I forget the whole name of it, but welcome to the show. It's just for you guys. So, gives them the show their own. And Scootaloo even gets to be on a report as a result of it. So, it was just so awesome with support from, and Scootaloo in the end gets support from Dash and her family, which is awesome. So, love that episode. Really quickly, one of my favorites. Just so awesome to finally see that moment. So that's my thoughts on the episodes. I'm so glad I'm caught up now. I don't have to. Unfortunately, I don't get Discovery Family on my Roku or my Sling TV, so I may have to still track down Dailymotion for new episodes. But I'm just jacked at the fact that I'm caught up now. It took me a long time. I was like a few seasons behind, but I wanted to get caught up after going to con, and now I'm finally caught up. So yay me, I'm caught up. Moving on from episodes real quick. Plush update. All right. Of course, I kind of maybe you guys actually if you saw my Twitter account, you guys saw one of my new ones that I put in the picture when we're going to record the episode last week that didn't happen because of the weather. And then I said that, that maybe it was a blessing in disguise because a second one was on the way later in the week. Well, I finally got them both. I'm hoping eventually to get another one, not counting my OC, by the way. But like I said, there'll be some things to work on with that. But I want to show you guys these two. This is the first one I got. Here's Soren. Of course, you guys know now being very much a part of the Wonderbolts. I love the fact I've been now a fan of the Wonderbolts myself. Soren is so awesome. I don't know why I was drawn to Soren. Maybe it's because we've seen a lot, in terms of seeing any of the Wonderbolts besides the leader. We've seen Soren a lot in the episodes on his own, especially with the one where he was interacting with Rainbow Dash a lot. So I love his cutie mark. I think that's so cool. I love that. But these are so soft too. I love this. So Soren's been here now, I think, for a good week. So Soren's here, but I got this one last Saturday. Like I said, I was just gonna have Soren for the episode on Wednesday, but I said, nope, blessing in disguise, get the second one. Check this out. The leader of the Wonderbolts herself, Spitfire. I knew I had to get them both. I had to get them both. And she's even in her full uniform with her whistle. Of course, she loves blowing the whistle at ponies. As Rainbow Dash mentioned, she's like, you love blowing your whistle. Like, yeah, I really do. I love Spitfire. She's so awesome. I love the colors. I love her look. I mean, she's even got kind of like that stare that she has with the eyes. Look at that. She's like, I'm gonna make you run these laps, ponies. Give me 500 laps and 50 wing ups right now. I love it. So I had to get these two. So awesome. So I love the look, and I think these are the first ones that had where their wings are folded. I noticed that when I got them, like the wings aren't out, but I love that look. Although I noticed that when I got these, they both were 12 inches, but to me, Spitfire seems like bigger than Soren. Or is it just me? I don't know. Well, no, I think they're the same. Spitfire just looks bigger because I think her mane's bigger. That's probably why. Her mane and her tail are a lot bigger than Soren's. Maybe just misjudging. I don't know. But yeah, so I had to show you guys these two. And in terms of my OC plush that I'm getting, I think we're kind of getting into the main stretch. See what I did there? Ha ha ha. That's funny. Ha 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 ha. There you go. We're getting into the main stretch here. I've been getting emails from Budsies about my OC. They're in the final, basically in the last few steps right now. They're doing the fabric and the stitching and the sewing and putting the stuffing in. The last step will be quality control, making sure it all works out, and then they'll ship it to me. So, like I said, the time frame was about early June that I'll be getting it. So I can't wait for it. I'm so excited to get that one as well. But I just had to show you guys these two that I got. They're just so awesome. So I love the fact that I got these two. And I'll put it back over here for a minute. But I also want to show you guys something else. Not only did I get the plushes, I also got these really cool figures from Walmart. These were really cool too. You guys can't see them, but I got mini figures of all the main six: Rainbow Dash, Twilight, Applejack, Fluttershy, Pinkie Pie Rarity, and I even got Kane's and Shining Armor, which is cool. But I had to also get these as well. These are the Guardians of Harmony series figures. So here's, of course, and these are in their full Wonderbolt uniforms, which is even cooler. So of course, there's Spitfire and there's Soren. So and these are really cool. These are like fully adjustable. They're posable. You can move their wings even, which is really cool. So I thought that was really neat. Although, okay, Spitfire's kitty mark I noticed is different when she's in uniform, because that's different than that's a different mark than what she normally has on her flank. But that's cool. And then of course Soren See Soren's mark is the same, so I wonder why it's different on Spitfire. That's interesting. But here's Soren. He can move his wings. He can move. His legs can move. Up and down, stretched out, what have you. So these I had to get as well. These are really cool. So again, you can get these at Walmart. The plushes I got actually off eBay. I usually tend to go to eBay for any plush stuff. I tend to usually go to eBay as my source. I love using eBay for stuff. So yeah, but these were Walmart and the plushes were eBay. If you guys want to find any yourself. Okay. So what else? Couple more things. Oh yeah. Everfree Northwest. Again, like I said, I didn't go, but from what I've seen so far from AC Race Best videos, I gotta say, the size of their main hall area much bigger than Winnie City. They do theirs at the DoubleTree there in Seattle, and it looks like, and I watched the videos. It's like that main hall is like twice as big, if not 3 times bigger than the one in Schaumburg. So the main hall in Schaumburg seems tiny compared to the one at Everfree Northwest. So much props to the staff there for that. I think I'm going to watch AC Race Best's con videos from now on. I tweeted that to him as well, and he liked the tweet because he just seems to have so much fun. Like, just such a blast, and I can relate now because I went to Winnie City, and it's such, you soak up every minute you're there. You enjoy every experience you have there. You try to see everything you can. It's such a blast. So I can relate now, and I hope to continue to relate with my experiences going to Winnie City in the future. And so just so much fun. I will definitely be watching his videos a lot more now in the future as well, and his panels for sure. And hopefully I'll get the chance to listen to more of the Semi-Perfect podcasts that they do on Wednesday nights. I hope to listen to a lot more of those in the future as well. Now that I'm caught up on the episodes, I can also listen to more and not be spoiled because I'm caught up on the episodes now. So now I can hear that. I'm like, oh yeah, I saw that. So now I'm gonna have to listen and go, huh? So that's for that regard. So it looked like it was a fun time. I hope that all of you that did go to Everfree and BabsCon this year as well had a blast. If you have any experiences you want to share, feel free to share them in the comment box. I'd love to hear your guys' stories from BabsCon or Everfree Northwest. What was your favorite experience of the weekend? What'd you like best? Story to tell, anything. Just, I want to hear your stories. So let me know, and I'd love to read them. And then finally, one more thing I want to share in this video with you guys, non-pony related, but one thing I just want to share. You guys know, from my fantasy football show, my other sports-related shows, of course, I'm a big sports fan. I'm a big hockey fan as well. I have several hockey teams that I follow, 6 in the NHL. Let's see now, 3 in the AHL, 3 in the ECHL, 1 in the USHL. So I'm a big hockey fan. And I've been a Fort Wayne Comets fan now up here, not very far from me in Fort Wayne, about an hour and a half drive from where I'm at for 15 years now. Hard to believe that it's been that long since I first started following the team, but kind of the backstory on that. I growing up, my mom would take me to Indianapolis at the Coliseum there to what at the time it was called Pepsi Coliseum. Now it's called, I think, like Indiana Farmers Coliseum or something like that. But it's the Coliseum where they hold the state fair every year. And they have events and stuff in there. And I would go to the Indianapolis Ice games when they were in the Central Hockey League and the IHL during that time frame. And I was hooked. I was hooked right away. Like as soon as I started going, I was hooked into hockey right away when my mom took me to games. It kind of inspired me in a way to become the hockey fan that I am today. I love the action. I love the fast pace of it. I love just the excitement of it, the big hits, the fights. I can remember one Indianapolis Ice game. I think it was against the Memphis River Kings, and I'll never forget it because that's who it was. And I think either the Ice won in overtime or lost in overtime. But there was a huge fight at the end of the game, and even the goalies were fighting each other. That's how bad it was. It was just so much. So that was just a wild night. Went to like 4 games when I was young. I think the Ice either won only one time or I think it was like one time and then 2 regular losses and 1 overtime shootout loss, something like that. But I was hooked. I was hooked right away. And then one day, shortly after the year after the Ice had won the Miron Cup title in 2000, I'm sitting in the hallway before school waiting for it to start at my high school, and I see the local paper, the sports section, and the Indianapolis Ice were being sold. And that wrecked my world. I mean, that wrecked my world, shook my world to its very core. I was devastated. That was my hockey. Like, that was the only local team that I had to root for. Like, that was it. Like, at the time, I didn't have. I think at the time I had like maybe 1 or 2 NHL teams that I liked. Not like today when now I have 6. I think at the time I only had like maybe, that was it. That was the only minor league team I liked. I didn't know about Fort Wayne. I didn't know about these other teams that I now like. That was it. That was my main hockey source for going to games. That was my main source, and it just got taken from me. So it was, and sold it to Pika, and that franchise only lasted 1 freaking season, and that's what made it hurt even more. So it was very tough, and it was tough for me to like let that go, and I moved on. I felt like, if Indianapolis can't, even for a city that has had such rich hockey history, oh, excuse me. Ooh, that felt weird. Oh, live video. Ooh. So for me, for somebody that that was my hockey, it was tough for if Indianapolis can't even keep a team there. Why continue to go? They're apparently the next year they're bringing in this junior hockey league team, and it didn't feel the same. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel like what I was used to seeing. So then I learned about the team up in Fort Wayne and being in the Comets, and I immediately got hooked to them right away. And I've been a Comet fan ever since. And I know the hockey's back in Indy now. I don't care. They will never replace the Indianapolis Ice in my heart. They won't do it. They never will, and I won't support them. I won't do it because it's a knockoff. It's something that they're too big a rival to Fort Wayne now. I can't do it, and their teams are terrible. I won't do it. I cannot forgive that. I can't do it, and besides, their mascot is also pretty stupid. So I can't do it. So I'm a Comet fan for life. 15 years now. Became a Comet fan in 2003, and that first year, actually, they won a league title. And actually, it's their last league title that they have won since. But I've been a Comet backer since then, and I always will be till the day I die. But this year, I finally got to do something that I've been wanting to do for so long, and I had not had the opportunity to do because either of a busy schedule, or I was working that night, or just it didn't materialize to happen. I was able to finally go to the end of season party and jersey auction. And I learned a couple things. One, if you want to win a jersey there, you got to save back a lot of money, okay? And I'm going to start doing that probably here in the off season, or at least before, during the course of next season, because the jerseys that are sold there, I mean, it's for charity, which is great, but they can go to upward, like close to nearly $2,000. Like the high bid this year was like $1,600. And I think the cheapest went for like 400, 500, if that. So you really got to have a lot of dough in order to win one of these jerseys. So I learned that, number one. But number two, it's so nice to be among fellow fans and just enjoy the season and take a look back on it. And just being there for me was rewarding enough. Just being there and experiencing that, everybody. I didn't go home empty-handed. I bought some souvenirs there. I got a nice decal for my car. I got I think I got a keychain for my keys, and all that. And I got a nice flag. Let me show you. I want to show you the flag. This is so cool. This right here. This is the neatest thing. This is so cool. I saw this and I thought, oh, that's so neat. So I had to get this. So this was the coolest thing I got. But So I wanted to do that in that regard. Just being there though was finally, after 15 years, was finally the coolest thing. And and the team was there, of course, and they're getting there. I got a picture of the whole team, and seeing the President Michael Franke talking there, and it was the first time that Bob Chase, the longtime broadcaster there, wasn't there to do the auction. So it was bittersweet in that moment. But it was still a great turnout, a great crowd, and it was fun to be a part of. Just fun to reminisce with everybody about the season and what's going forward for the team. Wanting to win titles and just look back. So it was a fun night all around. I had a blast. Great to be a part of. And I'm just hoping that going forward, I'll get to see some more games in the future, and I'll set some money back and hopefully maybe win a jersey in the future. But it never hurts to go home with some swag as well. So that is it for this episode. I know it's been a little more than an hour. I know I kind of went for, normally it was half an hour, but it definitely had a lot to get to in this episode. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys so much for your support. It means a lot. Whenever I do a video, it means a lot to me. Again, if you like the video, if you like the series, give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think. Share your thoughts on the episodes that you've seen so far. What's your favorites, non-favorites? What do you like so far about season 7? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Share your thoughts if you went to Everfree Northwest or BabsCon or whatever. So just thank you guys so much again for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Hopefully here in a couple weeks will probably be the next edition. I'm at least aiming for that. It won't be during the second weekend of June, though, because I do have a prior commitment. I'm going to summer games, of course, as I do every summer now at A.T.S.D. So it won't be during that week, but hopefully during the first couple weeks in June. And especially if I have my OC plush by then. Hopefully I will. So that would actually be really good timing, just to center an episode and be around that or the new episodes. So on that as well. So hopefully here in a couple weeks there'll be a new episode 4. Again, I will always keep you posted on Twitter @FierceNator. You can look for it there as well. I'll always tweet about it when I have a set date for a new episode. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on According to Spiky Dash. Signing off. Good night, everybody.